Shoot, I gotta find a new filming location because I have filmed in every corner of this bedroom. Hi friends, my name is Hunter Brenae. Welcome back to the channel. First and foremost, I have to say Happy New Year, everyone. We are in a new year. It's 2025. So much happened in 2024, especially towards the tail end. So I hope that you and your loved ones are safe and happy and you're moving towards creating a new journey for yourself in this new year. My family has been sick pretty much on and off since Thanksgiving, so it was a tough end to 2024 for us. But in my downtime, I did a lot of reflecting, a lot of thinking about the year that passed and the year that is to come. I've also been in my reading bag, so I've been collecting a lot of gems and information that I'm carrying with me through 2025, and I decided to pull out the camera and share some of those gems with you all today. We can consider this sort of a rebrand, sort of a rechanneling of the channel. And I angled it in a new corner of the room. This is the last free corner that is available for me to film in. I just wanted to talk about the new ways that I am implementing resolutions into 2025. I really want to do away with the arbitrary, unmeasurable goals that we often set in January and then they are gone by February. I wanted to sit down and implement transformative changes that I can carry through the quarters of the year, where I can check in with myself, not beat myself up when things are not met, and also celebrate the little wins. And for me, this is all really high level thinking stuff. So it took me quite a bit of time to develop my vision board and my vision for 2025. I'm a little late with bringing this video, but there's no better time than the present. So if you're ready to break free from the cycle of failed resolutions and create real lasting change, keep watching this video. So you may be asking the important question, where is all of this coming from? And like I mentioned before, I have been reading a lot in my downtime. I've been reading the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. And in this book, he talks about how small and progressive habits can lead to big life changes and ultimately changing yourself altogether. And at the end of the day, that's what we all want. We want to be better in the new year than we were in the year prior. But the way to get there is not through doing the same thing and expecting different results. We won't get there through creating goals that we then throw away because they're too large or unmeasurable or unattainable, or we end up getting bored, we end up getting busy. In 2025, we are going to set systems, not resolutions. Resolutions are often about achieving goals, rather than achieving lasting progress that ultimately leads to changing who you are as a person. In Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about how goals set the general direction to success, while systems map out how to get to said success. Goals are fleeting and binary. Either you achieve them or you don't, but systems promise consistent progress even if the goal isn't reached. So the ultimate plan here is to create sustainable habits and then to embrace continuous improvements so that you can celebrate small wins and avoid the all or nothing mindset. I haven't finished the book yet, but the biggest takeaway so far has been the shift from outcome-based habits to identity-based habits. For example, an outcome-based habit could be finishing a book by the end of January. And let's say you get right to the end of January, but you didn't finish the book. And that means that ultimately you failed the goal. For identity-based habits, you would tell yourself, I am a reader. And you begin to implement and take on aspects of reading. That may be waking up in the morning and opening a book. That may be joining a book club. That may be starting a YouTube channel where you talk about the book that you're currently reading. The plan is to turn away from having one specific goal that you're working towards, but rather to fall in love with the process and to go down the journey naturally and to celebrate the small wins along the way. We talked about this a little bit, but let's seriously talk about why resolutions don't work. In my opinion, I think that resolutions are super flaky. Some resolutions are too big and too unrealistic. Others only focus on the outcome itself rather than the process to getting there. And lastly, some resolutions rely on motivation, which can fade over time. Your resolution may be to go to the gym 3 times a week. but that outcome doesn't take into consideration weeks where you may be sick or weeks where work piles up and you're a little too busy to go in. And as your motivation shifts and maybe you go to the gym less frequently than you planned, then you end up looking at that as a failure. And in 2025, we are not going to set ourselves up for failure. We are going to focus on small systems and small shifts that actually make a difference. Every year I get together with my family and we create our vision boards for the new year. This right here is my vision board. I've never shared it on camera before. Alongside my vision board, I also created these SMART index cards. Now, if I'm honest, I don't remember the full acronym for SMART, but it's the measurable, attainable, timely, time-sensitive requirements that you can put onto your arbitrary goals to make them more specific for a period of time in the year or for you as a person. So originally I wanted to focus on 3 goals for 2025 and I call that my big 3. I ended up making 7 index cards. The other 4 goals are going to be smaller, more specific goals for a specific time of the year. But the areas where I wanted to see growth in 2025 included changing my relationship with money, building new and enriching hobbies, and strengthening my connections with people. Looking back at 2024, I feel like I lived 4 different lives in 1 year. I feel like my lifestyle, my mindset, my goals changed quite a bit over the year. And one big change that I wanted to make going into this year is I wanted to create smaller, more bite-sized opportunities to see growth over time. Rather than look at 2025 as a full year, I decided to break it up into quarters. So quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. The habits and systems that I'm in the process of implementing, these are solely for quarter 1. And following this quarter, I will reassess and recreate or adjust certain goals that would then fit quarter 2 and so on. So specifically looking at my finance card, the first note that I have on here is I want to reduce my student loans by blank amount of dollars by the end of April 2025. I don't have the amount written just because I have to go through the whole re-planning and reevaluating based on income. But once I know that, I'm going to write this amount in, and that's what I'm going to hold myself accountable for until the end of April. Without me putting all my business out there, I really wowed out when it came to spending money in 2024. I went through a lot of life transitions last year. I was also in a really big period of depression, and I was overcompensating by over-consuming. Of course, now I know how unhealthy that habit was, and I needed to develop better coping mechanisms and better ways to deal with my emotions. But for 2025, there's going to be a lot of unknown that is going to happen. We have a new administration coming in, so we don't really know what's going to happen financially in the world. And also 2025 is the year where I want to see changes in my professional life. So my goal is to still have my business that I'm running, but also I've decided that I want to go back and get a 9-to-5. That is a journey that I'm excited to share here on social media. But in essence, I want to get to a place where I am financially stable. I want to alleviate a lot of my debt, including student loans, a little bit of credit cards, but mostly I want to build towards my future. I will eventually want to get a house and settle down and really plant my roots down and start working towards owning something rather than renting. But that is a dream that I want to start taking small steps and moving towards financially. For the category of building enriching hobbies, I actually ended up with 3 different note cards. Now, talking about hobbies gets me really excited because I'm getting into reading, I'm getting into journaling. I do a lot of manifestation in the morning and in the evening, so writing down things that I'm thankful for. There's one specifically for hobbies. I do have a self-care and self-love one. And lastly, fitness and lifestyle. When it comes to working out, I've learned that I need something that I'm working towards. A friend and I, we signed up for a 3K mud run. That's gonna happen in the middle of April. So that's giving me a specific timeline in which I need to work on my conditioning and my strength and my flexibility to get to that end result. And my third category was strengthening my connections and relationships. This one I am keeping a bit closer to my chest because there are specific relationships that I am working towards growing and putting energy and water into. And I do have a note card for this one, but we're gonna keep that private. I had a lip gloss break. So as a girly who always has a plan, let's talk about some actionable tips that you can use to shift your resolutions into systems. My first tip is to start small. Focus on tiny habits that can be built over time. For example, writing down that you want to read 1 page of a book a day versus writing down that you want to read 20 books in a year. One holds you to a smaller, more tangible expectation that you can easily achieve every day, while the other holds you to this grand, lukewarm expectation that you can easily fail. Tip number 2 is to track your progress. This can be done through paper and pen. This can be done through applications. In my new 2025 planner, I have a habit tracker slide where I'm able to track the different things that I'm working on in this first quarter. If you are a digital person, I can share the link for that planner down below. But the goal here is to focus on consistency rather than perfection. There are going to be days where you fall off, weeks even, and in that time, give yourself grace and just work towards getting back on track. Tip number 3 is to be flexible. It's okay to adjust your plans as you go. Life happens. Perfect example, I planned on having this project done January 1st, but life happened. So I gave myself grace, and in the end, it still worked out. No harm done. Tip number 4, and in my opinion, the most important, is to celebrate your wins. Small victories are really important, and they are a great source of motivation. So over time, as you are achieving your small goals, give yourself a treat to say good job. It'll go a long way, trust me. And as a bonus and a teaser for a future video, I encourage you to consider or try your own version of a no-buy or a mindful consumption challenge. Even if you don't think that you have a spending problem, it is a great opportunity to assess your own personal inventory, to think about the things that you have in different ways, and also to be more mindful of just consumption that we have in the world. You know, I am reading a lot and I'm expanding my mind and my way of thinking, and I'm learning that we make a lot of waste as individual humans, and all of that is impacting our world and the future of our world. So taking a step back and looking at what you already have, I think it's a great opportunity not only to save money, but also to think about future purchases and just your imprint on the earth. So in closing, of course, I am not an expert on any of these things. This is all knowledge that I have obtained in the past few months that I felt compelled to share here on my channel. You all are my friends, and as I am shifting as a person, I feel the need for my content to also shift. And in 2025, I want to feel less overwhelmed. I want to be more intentional, and I want to appreciate the things that I have. And also, I'm learning that peace of mind is way cheaper than retail therapy. And once again, I want to encourage you to focus on the process and the progress versus the perfection. And this is a reminder that you are not alone in this journey. Please let me know down in the comments your goals or systems for 2025. And if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel for more content. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and let's make 2025 a year to remember. See you next time. Bye.